meltdowns heard just moments ago throughout the small town known as Ivyland, Pennsylvania. Through this small town, women and children are weeping, and their men are trying their hardest to get their families out of danger and into safety. We have with us today Dr. Maxine Jennerson, a nuclear expert on meltdown, Professor Justin Sablaski, an expert on geothermal and tidal energy, and Professor Brian Kravitz, an expert on biomass. All three are joining us today to talk about how the meltdown happened and how it could have been prevented. We will talk to Dr. Maxine Jennerson first on why and how the meltdown happened and could have been prevented. Welcome, Dr. Jennerson.
Hello.
I understand you're a nuclear energy expert.
That is correct.
Before we talk about why and how the meltdown occurred, can you explain to the audience what exactly is nuclear energy?
Well, nuclear energy is the alternative source to traditional energy. There's two types of nuclear energy. There's nuclear fission and there's nuclear fusion. Nuclear fission is the splitting of atoms. This process is used right now in nuclear power plants. Nuclear fusion has been discovered and it has been used, but right now science labs and power plants are not using nuclear fusion because of its uncontrolled reaction. Scientists are working on it, but it has not yet been valid for using energy.
I understand. Now, how did this nuclear meltdown occur or happen?
Well, the fuel cooling system was supposed to go off, but it didn't. The backup system was not working. Because these two factors happened, the fuel started to overheat. Once it heated to one extent, it melted. The melting caused radiation and danger to the town of Ivyland.
I see. Now, what are the effects of a nuclear accident and how can you prevent these factors?
Well, this is where I can show my visual. This is a visual of how nuclear energy can affect and how it can be prevented. Right here we have a cow. The cows eat grass. The grass is, when there's a nuclear meltdown at a power station like we have right here, the cow eats the contaminated grass. The contaminated grass is contaminating the milk that the cow produces. When it is produced, it affects the milk of which the human drinks. Here we have a mother and her child. The people that are affected most often and the worst are women, pregnant women, children, and babies. A minor way you can prevent this problem is staying in the house. It's minor, but it can help. The people that work in power stations are exposed to the most amount of radiation. They have masks and machinery that can prevent it, but they are still at risk. Many people that live near power stations must be evacuated as soon as possible when there is an accident. Are there any other questions that I can answer for you?
Nope, that'll be all. Thank you, Dr. Maxine.
It's been a pleasure.
Now we'll talk to Dr. Sablaski and Dr. Kravitz on how this could have been prevented. Welcome, Dr. Sablaski and Dr. Kravitz.
Thank you.
Dr. Sablaski, in your opinion, how is geothermal and tidal energy a better solution than nuclear energy?
Well, I think they're a better solution because they are both replenishable, unlike the fossil fuels, because the coal can run out, but nuclear energy and tidal energy cannot run out, and they are both because geothermal energy is heat related and tidal energy is from the tides, And since they're not burning anything like the fossil fuels do, there's no poisonous gases being released into the atmosphere, which can cause pollution. And it cannot melt. There's no nuclear meltdown because it's not nuclear energy.
Thank you. Dr. Kravitz, how can biomass be a better energy solution than nuclear, geothermal, or tidal energy?
Well, I feel biomass can be a much better solution because biomass uses only organic matter which can be easily replenished. Also, there isn't much chance of an accident happening because it only has to do with burning substances mostly.
I see. Dr. Splasky, how does geothermal energy actually work?
Well, there are three types of geothermal energy. The first one is you drill down into the ground where there's a hot water reservoir. Then you pump the water up, and it goes through pipes that keep it under constant pressure and heat, so it stays in a liquid form and it doesn't turn to gas. Then the water goes to the power plant and used to turn turbines, which creates the electricity. The second kind is when it's pretty much the same as the first kind, but it's using steam. So they drill down and bring up the steam through pipes, and it doesn't need to be kept under heat and pressure because it's already steam and it won't turn back to water. So then it goes to the power plant and it uses the turbines. The third way is called hot rock, and this way there's twin holes are driven into the ground over hot rocks, and then there's water, hot or cold water is forced down into the ground, and then they keep forcing it down until the rock crumbles and breaks. Then this creates a heat reservoir. Then they keep on pumping water down until it starts to turn to steam. Then the water is pumped up using the pipes, and it's used to turn the turbines.
Oh, now I know what geothermal energy means. Dr. Kravitz,
Yes.
what types of materials can be used to convert biomass into energy?
Well, just about any type of organic material can be used. Some of the more common ones include wood, leaves, manure, garbage, and biogas, which is a mixture of methane and carbon dioxide.
Oh, I see. Dr. Sablasky, what are the advantages of geothermal and tidal energy?
The advantages are they don't use fossil fuels, so nothing is burned and no gas are released into the atmosphere. It is replenishable because it uses heat. And the disadvantages of geothermal energy are it can create a sinkhole, which is a depression in the ground where all the steam or water was taken out of the ground. But this can be prevented and fixed by pumping cold water back into the reservoir where the water or steam was. So then the tidal energy advantages are it can't run out because it uses the tides, and it works on both tides. So when the tide is high, it goes through the turbines one way, and when it's low, it goes through the turbines the other way. The disadvantages of it are it can kill underwater ecosystems such as coral reefs, and that's about it.
So, to my understanding, geothermal and tidal energy and biomass is a lot more safer and better than nuclear energy. Is that true, doctors?
Yes.
Dr. Kravitz, what types of ways are there of converting biomass into energy?
Well, there are many ways of converting biomass into energy, but I'm only going to explain two. The first one is called pyrolysis, which is the thermal removing of biomass using direct heat in the absence of oxygen. The other way of converting biomass into energy is by using direct combustion, which is burning of biomass only by direct heat.
Okay, I see. Dr. Sablasky, would you mind sharing with us your visual that you brought in?
Sure.
There you
Okay, in this visual, this side in the left is for geothermal energy. This is the hot water reservoir, and these are the hot rocks right here. So the hot water is taken up through these pipes up into the power plant where it's used to turn the turbines, and then taken through power lines to houses and other places. But then water is pumped. This is a water pump which pumps water back into the hot water reservoir, so it doesn't create a sinkhole on the ground. On this side of it is the tidal energy. There's a cliff right here, and it's at low tide right now. So when it was high tide, all the water went through the turbines this way. When both sides were open, so the water filled up. Then when the tide was at its highest, they closed these, so the water was trapped in here. So now it's at low tide, and this side's open. So when they open this, all the water would come back out, so it would even up, and it would drive the turbines that way. Then the energy is taken through up the dam and out to a power plant.
I see. Dr. Kravitz, would you like to share your visual?
Of course. Excuse me, Dr. Johnson.
Dr. Sobolowski, that was very excellent visual.
You see, in my visual, I have first gone over the replenishable materials. Right here, they show wood, which is one. We have leaves, garbage, manure, and biogas, which again is a combination of methane and carbon dioxide. Over here, I have again listed the types of conversions. Here is the direct combustion, which is the burning of materials by direct heat, and I have shown a picture of a fire, which is just normal. And right here is pyrolysis. I have shown an oxygen sign, which is crossed out because there is none, and it's only the thermal removing of biomass by heat, and there is no oxygen in it.
I see. Now, Dr. Jennerson, I've also been told that you think that nuclear energy is a very good alternative energy source. Why is that?
Well, first, it does not release pollution into the air. Second, I agree with both Dr. Kravitz and Dr. Sobolowski. They both have excellent energy sources. I agree with all of them, and I think that all three could be used in future when traditional energy is not used anymore.
Oh, I see. Now, I also believe that you three have something further to share with us. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Yes.
Here we have alternative energy sources. Here are the positive sides on our 4 alternative sources, and here are the negatives of our 4 alternative sources. Our first topic on our visual is nuclear energy. The positive side to nuclear energy is that there's no pollution that goes into the air. It does have burning, but the burns don't pollute the air. The negative part of nuclear energy is if there is an accident, like a meltdown. The meltdown causes radiation in the air and destruction to wherever it happens. Some examples of where a nuclear meltdown has happened is Ivy Land. Some other nuclear problems could be an atomic bomb. This has happened in Nagasaki, Hiroshima, and Chernobyl. Here's Brian to present biomass.
In biomass, the positive side is all of its replenishable materials, including leaves and straw. The downside of it is that sometimes when burning these materials, it can give off a very unpleasant odor. Now Dr. Sobolowski will explain geothermal and tidal energy.
Thank you. Okay, this is geothermal energy, and the positive side of it is that it is replenishable because it's using heat. It's not using like coal or something like that cannot be created again. The downside of it is that it can create a sinkhole, which is shown here, a depression in the land. And then for tidal energy, the positive side of it does not create any harmful gases. And then the downside of it can kill underwater organisms such as fish and coral reefs.
Thank you so much, doctors. We really appreciate your taking time out of your busy schedule to come join us today.
You're welcome.
And now back to our regular program. It shows the audience and our viewers at home how to act safe and not get in danger. So thank you so much. And that about wraps up our show today. I'd like to thank the doctors for joining us today and taking time off from their busy schedule.
You're welcome.
And now back to your regular program. How did this nuclear meltdown happen?
Well, this is where my poster can come in handy. Poster on nuclear energy. This is a cow.
Come on, guys, stop.
Okay, Maxine. Wait, we gotta wait till Brian comes.
Hold